Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, it's time to compare Waves Vocal Blender with SOUNDTOYS Little AlterBoy. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've got a little project pulled up here from a song I did about a year ago. We're gonna use it to demonstrate these two plugins. The song's called Fast Car, you can check it out. So what these plugins are is almost carbon copies of each other. Little AlterBoy is about 6 years old. Waves Vocal Blender is about 2 years old, and you could definitely tell they were biting off of this Little AlterBoy plugin. The one thing about Waves is that they're noticeably cheaper than almost any other plugins out there, especially for stuff like this. Little AlterBoy is $99. Waves Vocal Blender floats from $30 to $45. So, is it worth the extra money to get the OG format shifter, which is Little AlterBoy? I'm going to be doing some sound comparisons as well as some feature comparisons. Okay, so now the one thing to note is that it's a format shifter, sounds like this.
I don't really want to tell you what happened, but I lost her.
That's Waves Vocal Blender. And that's the main functionality that we're looking at. Both of them do that pretty well, but there's a couple differences between the two. Waves Vocal Blender has a lot of modulation options. It's got a pitch modulation option, the amplitude modulation, and then 2 LFOs. You can just drag and drop those on any control. Little AlterBoy does not. You can still automate those things with LFOs and with automation clips in FL Studio, but it's not built in. Maybe that's important to you. I never use these. If I'm going to automate anything in these, I'm going to usually use an automation clip. So that's what Waves Vocal Blender has going for it. What Little AlterBoy has going for it is this amazing distortion. It's this analog emulation distortion that sounds really great. A little bit gives it a nice warmth.
I don't really want to tell you how it.
A lot of it gives it a lot of grit.
I don't really want to tell you how it happened, but I lost.
Which sounds really nice, and there's not anything really like this in FL Studio stock, or even Logic or some of the other DAWs that I've worked with. It seems like this is a really nice vocal distortion. Gives you a little bit of warmth to your vocals. The other feature that Waves Vocal Blender does not have is this Quantize. Quantize is kind of like auto-tune without being auto-tune. It's a hard tune, but it doesn't let you pick the scale, so it's not really that useful because it's going to play notes that aren't in your song's scale. So I'll go ahead and turn that on, give you an idea on how that sounds. Here's without it.
Remember back then, I was sad then. In a
Some untuned, very rough vocals, and with Quantize.
Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car.
When it gets it right, it sounds good, but it's getting some of the wrong notes that don't fit the song. So those are the differences. Now let's look at 3 things, all having to do with sound quality. How's the format shifting sound? How's the pitch shifting sound? And how does vocal layering sound? I'm just gonna A/B test it. We'll start with Vocal Blender.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car, no capping. I don't really want to tell you.
There's some digital artifacts with Vocal Blender. Doesn't sound too bad, but doesn't sound amazing. We'll go back to Little AlterBoy.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car, no cap.
The tone is noticeably different. It's not necessarily better, but it does sound great. It doesn't have any of those digital artifacts. It's really buttery smooth. It emulates the hardware look, and it sounds like hardware too. I think the same is true for the pitch. We'll go back to Waves Vocal Blender here. Just the pitch.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car, no capping. I don't really want to tell you how it happened, but I lost her, can't go back there. She just told me how it's having to be, and I'ma see her.
A lot of digital artifacts, but doesn't sound too bad. Let's go to the pitch for Little AlterBoy.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car, no capping. I don't really want to tell you how it happened, but I lost her, can't go back there. She just told me how it's having to be, and I'ma see her.
This sounds nice. It's not super warm, but it sounds really authentic. I can't really explain that, but it doesn't have those digital artifacts, same as the format shifting Sounds really great. After having listened to both of these for a while, I'm a big fan of little AlterBoy in that respect, just the tone of it. And now let's do some vocal layering. We'll start with vocal bender. Say you want to do a low octave. Turn that format down a little bit. Turn that pitch down an octave. Wetness down to about 25.
But I lost.
I'll go ahead and actually solo this out.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car, no capping. I don't really want to tell you how it happened, but I lost her.
It sounds good. It kind of loses the nuts on it a little bit. I don't know what it is with the layering on vocal bender, but I would usually separate it out onto another track and affect it separately. The wet dryness doesn't seem to work super well. There's something that gets lost in there. Let's check out vocal bender. Same thing, format down a little bit, pitch down an octave, and let's do that mix at about 25%.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car, no capping. I don't really want to.
That sounds really nice. And you can boost this drive, give it a little bit more grit on that low octave.
But I lost her, can't go back there. Remember back then, I was sad then. In a fast car.
That definitely is the thing that stands out to me the most. This makes it really usable, really quick, because that I would use. Vocal bender, the octaves like that, not as appealing just tonally. It sounds similar, so maybe you don't notice it right away, but after working with both of them for quite a bit of time, definitely little AlterBoy wins it out for me. Doesn't mean vocal bender's not usable. Again, it's about $70 cheaper. Little AlterBoy goes on sale to about $50 sometimes, so you can keep your eye out for that. I would definitely recommend it, but if you want to save a little money, it's not a bad choice. They didn't do a terrible job with vocal bender. Hopefully that gives you enough of an idea on how to make your purchasing decision. If maybe you have one or the other and you want to see if you want to upgrade, or you don't have either and you need to buy one. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of information. If you have any questions, my thoughts or anything, let me know in the comments. And I appreciate you watching. See you next time.